Hey, I'm a little early, huh? Or on time. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Mary. Hi, Dina. How are you guys? Welcome. Happy Friday. It's throwing me off this week, streaming on different days. You know, like I'm kind of turned around on what day of the week it is. Yesterday felt normal. How are you? How are you? Can you guys hear and see me okay? Everything look okay? I finished the shirt from my mom, so I thought I'd show you guys. It actually, I'm not going to tell her how fast it was to sew together. I can make a bunch of these, but it turned out really cute. I copied one of her shirts. I didn't add the cuff to the sleeve. She said that was okay, but it has this cute little like vent on the side, which I kind of struggled to do, honestly, because I did it in a way I wouldn't normally do it, and I was like, all right, this is okay, but you know, it looks holiday-ish without being overtly holiday-ish. She picked out the fabric. I have one more I'm going to make today. This one's way more holiday-ish, but it's pretty cute fabric. Like maps and birds. I'm glad I'm going to get those. And I need to make me some too. Oh, and I got my quilt back. My very first quilt I've ever made with a real quilt pattern and everything. It's all cats. And there's a ton of different cat prints. The lighting's kind of dark, but you can see it's like the swirl stitch. Hi, Megan. Thanks, Dina. Yeah, I know. That fabric she picked is really, really cool. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's like, you know, this big and as tall as me, so I'm pretty happy. Oh, and then here's the back. I know the back looks really busy, but it's this really cool folk cat print that mirrors itself over and over again. I've been saving it for a really long time. She did an amazing job considering it's my first quilt, and I know it probably had all kinds of bumps and lumps, and I didn't do the border quite correctly because how I did it made it ripple a little bit. So, but I'm learning, right? I'm learning, and she's super nice. So she's guiding me. But I'm so happy I finished it. I really want to hang it on the wall here because my walls are so bare and I haven't hung up all my stuff. But I just picked a jelly roll for all these prints, so that's why they're all kind of similar. And then this yarn dye. Totally weird assortment of fabrics, I know. But I'm so happy. Yay! Hi, Brown Sugar. Thanks, Vicky. I know. I'm so happy. So I'm not an extremely domestic person, but I feel like all the things we're sewing this week make it look like I'm only domestic. So I apologize for that, and that I love binding, but I'm not going to apologize for that. But we're going to be doing the Oven Mitt that I keep talking about constantly. And it's a free pattern on the website. It's only 3 pages, and you get 3 sizes. I think you could even scale this down one more size, and I would do it 7%. I figured out. Hi, World Peace. How's it going? So it has a thumb side and a finger side. Designed it so that, you know, everything is protected from the heat, but you have more thickness here. The more you use it, the more it breaks in. I think the big thing with oven mitts, feeling insecure and not being able to grab what you're grabbing, is always this ridge right here. So if you wanted to sew and turn this rather than use binding, I think you could. I think it would be a little, you'd have to do some hand sewing. I think it's possible. Maybe we could try it on one of them. And then I put a loop on this one. This one's for my sister. And then this one I put a magnet, which doesn't stick. This is not metal, apparently, but it is pretty strong. I'm hoping it'll be strong enough. I used an all-clad oven mitt that I wasn't using because it didn't work at all. I used the fabric. This one's a size bigger, so it's a little big. I think if you want to make it really secure and you know it's for a right-handed person, you would stitch right here. You can even make this a little smaller if you wanted. More like a mitt, you know? But because of this ergonomic seam right here, because it's, you know, a curve, it kind of helps. And if you really wanted to over-engineer this thing, you could. You could put a seam right here, which is the first place I put one, so that you would have like this, you know, shape like this. I mean, it just feels good just doing that right now. But you want to make sure that it doesn't bounce off your hand, which is what I was having happen. That you can grab your pan, right, confidently. So, all right. Should we get to it? Anyone making any? And tomorrow we're making the cupcake and pie slice pincushions. Oh, and thanks so much for all of you who've been renewing your Twitch Prime subscription on Twitch. I noticed a bunch of them come through. I was like, oh, dang, thanks. That's awesome. All right, so what do you think? I think I'm gonna sew this one. Ooh, the only one I have is a gift. The way I've been making them, because of I have this tacky fabric right here, and I know that sewing and turning this right side out might be a little bit tricky. So we cut all our pieces on Tuesday, and I stacked them up the way they're going to be sewn. So I put one piece of batting behind each of these. So this is the palm, this is the outer palm and the inner palm. And then this is the part that's going on top of my hand. And so this goes, where's this piece? Did I lose one? What the flip? I've got one here. All right. Oh, maybe it's this one. Oh, these are all kind of weird. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, so here. So move those out of the way. Yeah, so you need 1/2 that goes to the fold line. And the fold line on these pieces, just note, this is the palm. And then this is the top thumb and the hand portion, right? There's a fold line right here. It is not the notch, across from the notches. So just so you know, the part with the notch is not your fold line. Hi, Malin. Good evening. How are you? So that's just good to note. So this little notch is going to line up with, you know, the tip of your palm, for lack of a better word. So first we're going to do a casing across this. Now, if you are trying to figure out what fabrics to make your oven mitt in, all I can say is, like, you don't really need to invest in a ton of fancy fabrics to make it heat resistant. I kind of Googled this and kind of searched around and kind of found some information. And then I found this really great study this gal did, informal study on what is the most heat resistant fabric. And I wish I would remember, I wish I could link her just to give her some props for that. Because I found it really useful, because I was like, okay, should I buy Insulbrite to put inside, which is a fabric that apparently gives it some heat resistance. I actually have this fabric that, remember when I bought the fabric from the Rain Shed, who, by the way, is not going out of business. Someone bought them. They were going to retire after like 50 years, and someone bought them. So excited. I bought some fabric from them to insulate one of my windows. Like, it's an insulation fabric with metal in it. And I don't remember what it was. And I cannot, they're such a like informal website. I couldn't find my information on the order. So I was like, is that Insulbrite? I don't know. So I'm not using that because I don't really know what it is. And I actually ironed it. I ironed a few different fabrics around here. I ironed wool felt. I actually touched the iron through different fabrics and just made sure that I was on the right track, because I don't want to steer you guys wrong. But what it seems the consensus is old towels work really, really great. And you can also use a couple layers of batting, which you want natural fiber, first of all. I know it doesn't seem like you would want natural fiber because we're taught so thoroughly in outerwear that synthetics work really well to insulate you. But the thing is, they're also melt under heat. So you don't want to use those for your oven mitt. And let's face it, wool and silk are really great insulators for natural fiber outdoor clothing as well. So there are props to the natural fibers. So You're gonna need natural fibers for sure, unless you get this Insole Bright material, which I'm not sure anything about, but I hear it works really great. But you can use old towels, wool felt, or 2 layers of batting, and that's what I'm doing. I've done the wool felt and the 2 layers of batting. I haven't done any towels yet because my daughter's been losing so many of my towels that I don't have very many left to cut up. So I'm gonna save that for another day. So this looks a little big. Maybe it's relaxing. Maybe I didn't cut it very accurately. Maybe it's just because of the thickness. It's not letting me fold it perfectly. See, I'm getting that little bit. So I'm going to trim that down a little bit. So I feel like you can make this with a lot of your scraps that you have. You don't have to make it out of entirely one fabric, but 1/4 yard is going to give you 2 whole mitts in a solid fabric. So it doesn't really take much. So let's do our, I'm going to make sure I'm folding this directly across from the notch like this. I'm going to put a little crease in it so I can use it. So my Santas don't start creeping on the other side, you know. Now I'm going to do a casing, I think in the easiest way. So you're going to need either a safety pin or the loop turner to be able to pull your elastic through. Where's my elastic? Oh, I just dropped my elastic. That's what that was. And I think you can also use like a variety of widths of elastic. I have tons of 3/8 inch, so I'm going to do that. And I can't remember the measurement. It's on the page, right? Let's see here. I may have the page. Oh, there's the page. Oh, I wrote down 10 inches because I wanted you to have enough for any size. But you need a piece that's pretty much going to go across this little spot right here on your palm, the notch to notch area. And I would do it about a 1/2 inch less. So this one right here that I'm doing is, I think, the small. Yeah, this is the small. And I found when I was making these to make these about a 1/2 inch shorter. So I'm going to cut this elastic at 4.5 inches. I'm going to cut 2 of them. I really think you can err on the side of smaller than larger because the tighter it is, the better. Hi, Megan. How's it going? Nice to see you. And you have to understand that the thickness of this fabric with the batting in there, it's going to prevent it from gathering up as much as possible. Hi, Terry. Nice, nice. I'm glad it's going good. So let's see. I think I might even make this. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to make these 4 inches. We'll just test mine, okay? We're not talking about clothing here, so it's okay. So I'm going to make a casing straight across. I'll just lay my elastic there as a guide. Straight across the thumb area here. And what I would do is line up this edge to a line on your throat plate. That way you can make it nice and straight. All right, so let's see. How is this one fitting? This one fits way better. All right. Same thing. Let's see, I made this one at that 1/2 inch line, so we'll do the same. All right, so now we have our casing in there. So now this is my trick for putting, whoops, you want to put your loop turner in there. Now I kind of put my elastic in there at the same time, like I stitch it as it's going through. So now see, I've pulled the elastic and so that edge is sticking straight through. I'm going to stitch through right now. And then I'm going to pull this out like this. And secure it that way. So now I have my little Santa. I'll show you how to do that again. I find when you're securing elastic, so you could tack your elastic in there and sew it at the same time. You got your first Christmas gift today for you? Aw, meaning you bought yourself one? You could sew, like when I was making these on my own, I would tack the elastic at either end and then sew the casing line. But I think this is a little bit easier, you know. So I'm gonna pull it through, secure that one in. So I just got this sitting here like this. I'm gonna secure that end. I feel like when you go through all layers for your elastic, it helps keep it as flat as possible at the seam allowance right here. Rather in like some instances where you only tack it on one layer and then it makes it buckle and pull into the casing. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull this out. Now if you are sticking with that 4.5 inch measurement for your elastic, what you could do is trim a little bit off of your elastic at this point, you know, so it's a little easier to manage. I know I definitely made that look kind of easy. There's a little bit of a knack, but here we go. That's my thumb. So my thumb and my palm, my hand. I don't know what to call these. Ooh, nice, Megan. I got one of those this year too. I love it. It was a hard decision because I had the very first iPad, and then I think I went to a mini because I only used it as a cash register. I found myself only using it to read knitting patterns and as a cash register, and so I decided to like just get like a recent generation mini, and it worked really great. But then my website, the like POS software, the point of sale software, stopped kind of integrating with the mini as often. I didn't want to be at my last show last year kind of high and dry without a cash register. So I was like, oh, and I kind of hoped I would get a little bit more experimental with fabric design. So I wanted that pencil, the iPad pencil. Did you get the pencil? Because that thing's flipping cool. I have one. It's amazing. But I'm not using it very much. So there's that. If you're going to need something like that, you do whatever you're going to do for a while, like whatever app it is, and then decide if you need it. So yeah, you're learning sketching. Yeah, right? Yeah, it's awesome, Megan. Yeah, I watch video on mine mostly. But I would like to use it. That's probably what I'll do over Christmas break. That's what I usually do over Christmas break is I do like one weird little thing that I didn't get to do all year. And it's usually like play around with designing a fabric or something like that. Maybe I'll try it then. I feel like I already earmarked this break for something. I hate it when I've already figured it out. Oh, the sun's coming out. Maybe the light will get better. Okay, so now we're going to do the palm. I don't know why I'm holding those two together. Do not sew those two together. So this is my outer palm, the one that faces towards the pot or pan. You're going to get 2 pencils. That thing is so easy to lose, Megan. So easy to lose. I've lost mine a few times. It's not that I lost it. It's that I wouldn't use it for a really long time, and I'd be like, do I know where that's at? And then I'd have trouble finding it because I put it in a safe place. I also got the keyboard, and I love that keyboard. It's totally worth it. I had to wait for it. I did make my sweater. Yeah, it's got the dots on the. Yeah, whoops. I always go the wrong way. It's cute, isn't it? I made this one a long time ago. I changed out the buttons last year and put these are really cute. They've got the little knit print from Maria from A Needle Runs Through It. And this yarn is by Knitted Wit, and it's her birthday tomorrow. That's what made me think of it. I was like, I think her birthday's coming up when I saw the sweater, and something else made me think of it. So, all right, so we're gonna sew this curve together. So like the one time when you have a curve in a pattern, and the curves actually they nest together. You know, not like princess lines where you're putting opposite curves together when you go to sew it. So do 1/4 inch seam allowances through all layers. I split up my 2 batting layers for each side here, and I did that to just make it less bulky on this seam and a little easier to sew. And I'm finding that when you top stitch this seam down, it's a lot easier to deal with. Hi, Jane. Thanks, Jane. Your case has a pencil holder. Oh, dang, that keyboard's a little pricey to get your daughter. Thing's like $100. How are you doing, Jane? How's your shoulder? There you go, Megan. That's a good. That's a good call. All right, so I'm just gonna push the seam allowance. Now you have notches right here, and this is where we're going to line the thumb and the back hand to. So you still need those, so don't worry. They didn't need to go to something by now. And you're just gonna press this seam one way or the other. Doesn't matter which way. Ooh, come on. There we go. Just pull it apart real hard and just top stitch it down. Now, I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to push the seam the opposite way of this one because when they go together, it'll be less bulky if you have one seam going this way and one seam going this way. And I'm not going to change my thread color, so don't cringe. Just don't look if you can't handle it. I am sewing through this silicone, and I'm just going to go kind of slow so my machine doesn't get hung up. Oh yeah, that's kind of bad, but you didn't see anything. Oh, my little batting's a little loose there. Let's just trim that off then. Kind of popped out. Didn't get folded all the way. At least it's less bulky now. All right, so now you're just gonna lay these wrong sides together. They're kind of ripply, so just kind of tell them, hey, you guys are buddies now, right? Kind of start breaking it in. So is the pencils, then third keyboard, keyboard's 200. Holy moly. I don't want to know how much I spent on that. Stop it, Megan. I feel like I got mine as a bundle or something. Yeah. Now you're going to make me, I'm going to use that thing. So this is the other thing. So I have the Concept 3 app, which is this incredibly amazing drawing app that's super easy to use and makes things look really great. But I'm seeing so many tutorials from Spoonflower using Procreate that I got that app. And so that's what I'm gonna do over my break. I'm gonna follow all the little tutorials that I keep finding on Procreate and get used to it. I don't want to become a fabric designer, you guys. Don't think that. You know what's crazy is that I have a lot of trouble coming up with ideas. Yeah. I feel like I thought the keyboard was $100, but I might be just telling myself that it was, and maybe it was the pencil. I had to wait. I had to get it separate. They were so sold out when I got it. Okay, so if you might find it easier to stitch this perimeter down. I'll do that right now. I think it will be easier because by now all your little layers might start shifting around and getting a little bit bigger and smaller than, and you kind of want them all to line up. So just make sure you line up your notches. It'll be easier to sew this silicone with it being under the against the machine rather than against the foot, but it's still fighting it a little bit. Look how tiny my stitches are because of it. I love using things in my life for the fabrics I need, and I was not using these oven mitts that cost me $15 each, which doesn't sound like a lot, but at the same time, it was just sitting there, so that's why I decided to cut it out. Her birthday and graduation in May. Oh, my birthday's in May. I think we've talked about that. I know, my daughter graduates in May too. Crazy. All right, so now we have this is our palm. It's looking a little wonky right here. So let's tell it what we want it to do. Because this is how it's going to be. See, I don't really like that. And that's because, remember how I talked about how when you start adding interlayers, here's the 8th and mine's the 18th. That's all right. I remember that. When you start adding layers and you're using the exact same pattern piece, this is what I was talking about with all the things in the Chicka Boots line that had stiffener. We made different pattern pieces for each layer, the lining layer, the outer layer, and the stiffener layer, because you lose a little bit as you go smaller and smaller when it's the piece that's wrapping around. Like this one, see, this is the lining, but at the same time, it's on the outside of this whole assembly. So it's a little shy. So you could, you know, sit here and really, you could correct it. And what I would do is hold it like this, pop out these stitches, and then lay it down where it wants to relax. So it is not doing that. And because this silicone is so thick, I will do that so you can just see what how I'm gonna do it. Because it's a free pattern. I didn't sit there and engineer it for different thicknesses and what I like to call the kerf, the loss that you get when you are using different thicknesses. So we'll just take out I was about to say the toes, the fingertips. I mean, if you can take out hot dishes out of your oven with your feet, then you probably have evolved past an oven mitt. So, and my socks are off to you, you know, instead of my hat. All right, let's see here. I'm just going to take it back a little bit. Let's see if we can get it to relax a little better. See, so now take out this thread here. Anytime you're using a fabric that has a thickness, you have to account for those different thicknesses. Now, my fabric got a little stretched out, so now it feels like it's going to behave better rather than doing the flip thing. But let's see, let's just keep letting it sit here and relax. I'm going to fold it like this. It just does not want to glide because of the silicone. So when I do this, it feels a little slack, but when I do this, it's better. See, it's still doing that little thing. So here, let's tack this down. Keep it nice and relaxed. And maybe you guys couldn't tell what it was doing. Maybe I'll make sure I'm demonstrating it, but maybe you can see it if I do this. So you see how this one right here is flipping up like this? When it's flat, it's fine. Like when it's just this piece alone, it's fine. It's not going to do that. And it's because you're layering them like more like a sandwich. Turn of cloth. Oh, I love that. Thanks, Mullen. Turn of cloth, that's what it's called. That makes so much sense. I'm using a woodworking term. But because now you're folding it like this, it's going to have to stretch right over this distance. That's when you start getting this little bit of turn of cloth, that loss. So we'll just make it relax. You can probably beat it into submission and it wouldn't make much of a difference. Right? Oh, remember these stitches are kind of small because of my throat plate kind of grabbing the silicone on that oven mitt fabric. It was so satisfying taking apart those oven mitts. 4 stitches to the inch. Why would you not use the elastic, Megan? Do you not want to do that? So if you don't do the elastic, I'll show you one without. You don't, I need more information on that question. Like, can you make it bigger? Which part? Wait, where is that thing? Okay. I have to think about where it's at. Where is it? Is it right here? Oh yeah, right here. So making it bigger and not using the elastic is going to make it bigger. So this is pretty much the exact same piece without the elastic. And what I found was it kind of ooches off of my hand without the stability of it, like pulling it against your hand. It's cuter without the elastic. You can totally do that. In fact, what I would do is I would make this little pocket flatter. So I wouldn't make it bigger, I would make it smaller. You know what I mean? You just can't make it too, you can't make this flat against the oven mitt because you need room down here. Otherwise, if this is fully flat right here and there's no room for your fingers, it's going to push it off your hand. This is high level engineering, Megan, come on. Yeah, so you can totally try it. What I would do is I would get it to this stage, you know, like tack your things on there without the elastic in them, and then try it. Yeah, so, oh, yeah, if you want it, yeah, you can make the larger version too. You could make it without these if you just want this. That'd be easy. If you're not worried about your hand touching, because like when I use a dishcloth, that's basically the equivalent, right? I'm gonna stitch this on. Yeah, I really could have spent even more time engineering this thing. I found that how complicated it was. It's just like when you do, this is going so badly, taking out these stitches right here. Jeez Louise, look at this. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna make it worse. All right, so let's get this nice and relaxed and pulled away. I just can't push it under my machine because of that silicone. I did awesome. Yeah, if you like using like the flat hot pad thing, maybe you just do this, use this thing, and then bind the perimeter and you're done. I might make myself one like that. It's kind of an idea, you know? But I use a toaster oven to do a lot of my baking because I have a really great toaster oven, and my hand is, the sides are so close that, and the door, I kind of wanted more protection. I'm not sure my husband's that down for all the oven mitt changes I'm doing because he likes using the big oven mitt, you know, that goes up to like here. And I'm like, oh yeah, that thing's going out of the kitchen soon. Because I was like, here, try this mitt. Let me know what you think. He's like, it feels like my hand's too exposed. Like in his opinion, he didn't like how much, you know, of his hand was showing right here. Yeah, right, Megan? Yeah. Yeah, if anything, you might want more then. It's grabbing me, this silicone. Okay. This looks so bad right now, so let's make it look nice. Okay, so now we have our center notch there. Let's hope it's still in the center. Right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stitch it from one notch to the middle. Actually, I'm gonna go from the middle to each notch. So I'm gonna go from the notch down to the other notch right here. Start from the middle. I'm saying this so badly right now. We're just gonna get it all into play, and then we're gonna trim it for when we put the binding on. Whew. All right, and now I'm gonna go from here to the other one, to the middle now. I like to smooth out my elastic like that, kind of get it away from bunching up right there. Make sure you get all your layers, because there is kind of a lot of layers at this point. Yours will be easier without that silicone. I do, huh? Yeah, Beverly, I think that's where this idea started, right? Because you guys were asking for your smoker and outdoor grilling. That's a good point, Megan. I feel like if you need that kind of really big full coverage, there's so many, those are pretty standard, right? And they seem to work for that option, for that like use. All right, so same thing, I'm gonna start from the center. And this notch is closer to that seam than this notch was. It's supposed to be like that. And I kind of pick up all the layers. This This doesn't have to be pretty. We're just tacking it down to make it easier for us to do the binding step. Once you've made a few of these, you can find your shortcuts. So see how this is bunching up right here? This is what I'm talking about. See, I didn't get through that layer right there, and that's why. So let's flatten that out a little bit. Let's make it behave a little better. I literally, this little type of step exists in my project bag end pocket for the elastic. And I spent so much time on the instructions for that simple little step because I was trying to explain that. It's like I'm definitely learning why some patterns end up the way they do. And it's because at a certain point you just got to be like, I can't really explain this any differently, and I don't really think I'm doing the greatest job. And I'm just going to have to hope that people watch the video or ask, you know. Oh, I tend to make your hands sweaty. Yeah. So what would you... So I'm just going to trim all this up and make it a little nicer. I tried to make that little angle where you do the ergonomic seam right here. I tried to make this as kind of a right angle as possible, but it wasn't going to happen without the pattern getting really weird and hard to sew. So you're going to have to trim it a little bit. Just kind of smooth it out. You don't need to lop it all off. So what would make a mitt style oven mitt ideal for your use, Megan? What if the like backhand part was a lighter weight fabric, you know? Okay, so here's our little Santa baby mitt. This is pretty cute. In person, this is pretty cute. I don't really tend to make holiday things. All right, so now we're to what? Some binding. I don't know why I just set that pin on top of my machine. Okay, so same deal. I'm going to start on the back side, which is the palm, because it's not the part I'm going to be looking at when I'm using it. And I'm going to just start, let's see. Oh, you know what? We want to make I'm going to make a loop. So I think my iron's still stood up. Let's make a loop. Oh, yeah. Rubber is, oh, my iron cam isn't. Okay, what's up with my iron cam? Let's see if we can get it going. Yay. Love it when it actually works when I do that. So much. Let's brighten it up a tiny bit. Okay, let me iron this little piece of binding to make a loop. So this is about, what do you think? Let's see. I cut about an 8-inch piece. We don't really need an 8-inch piece, but it's nice to have extra because it's easier to work with. So I'm just gonna fold this to where it meets in the inside. Like this. Doesn't have to be too perfect. My iron's not that hot yet. So just fold in 1/4 of an inch. Come on, iron, wake up. I think if you have the Clover bias makers, and you put your bias through, this is exactly what you get. So if you have one of those, it's a good opportunity to use one. I actually do have one, so I'll try and remember to use it on the next one. Megan, what if you made yourself a cotton mitt to wear inside that one? Would that help? All right, so then I'm just gonna fold it in half. You could iron it again, but I don't really feel the need. And edge stitch it. I bought this fabric because I thought, ooh, it's going to make such great binding. We're going to have so much fun with this. And when I got it, I was like, this is kind of crazy. It was a little more than I bargained for. I put my loop on the others on the hand right here. So you might want to put it somewhere else. You could put it on the thumb. I find like putting it on the thumb, I thought it might get in the way when I'm going in. I don't know. So you don't see it right here, right? So this is what's touching the pan. You don't want to put it on this side. You want to put it on the back of the hand. And you just want to put a loop that's big enough to actually use if you're going to use it. I'm even going to keep mine separate so it's easy to loop onto something. Remember, I cut about 8 inches and then I cut 2 inches off, so you need about 6 inches. Just like that. All right, so now we can bind it. What fits just right? Oh, it fits just right. Yeah, you need something to make it cooler. Especially because it can get slippery, right? If it's that hot, your hand gets sweaty. All right, so I'm going to start on my binding. I'm going to put the start-stop kind of away from the elastic so that it's not too thick. And make sure you keep everything flat. The 1/4 inch seam, make sure you don't twist your loop that you just attached. We're going to put all my ugly ripped out seam now under the binding, and no one will ever know except you guys. But you guys got my back. Hi Heather. I know, it's really cute. It's a towel. Like, you know how they sell the toweling at the fabric store in different prints? They have a couple of Santa prints at mine. And I thought, oh, that might be kind of fun. It definitely has that kitchen vibe because it's the linen toweling too, you know? There is no shortage of Christmas fabrics at the fabric store right now. I just thought it would be a fun way to use that stuff I've always wanted to buy, you know? And they had other cute ones too. These are kind of fun. I like these. I'm gonna use bigger scissors, so I'm not using my little ones on the silicone. It's a little thick with that silicone. The bird one's gonna be a little easier. Don't clip your loop. Hold it out of the way. I wonder if you can get this kind of stuff to put. Can't you just see this on Pinterest and someone uses a glue gun? I'm not on Pinterest, but I definitely have clicked when I'm looking for something and it takes me to a Pinterest thing and I'm like, no. No, Sydney, you know what I did was we recently got pots and pans like this past spring. And when we were there, I got us also an oven mitts because oven mitts have been a struggle for me. I haven't found any that I really like. I keep getting those little like silicone ones that go on your fingertips. And those, I feel like they slip off the pan, you know? So I was like, what the heck? Let's get these oven mitts made by Allclad. They must know what they're doing. And they were big. You can see, I show them on Tuesday. If you just look at the beginning of the stream, you'll see it. I have a gray one and a red one. I took them apart. And then I also still have, so they're really big. This is how big they were, right? Now, when it's like this, it's pretty easy to use. But there's something about it. Neither one of us used them. They were too hard, too stiff. And so I just popped off the binding, which took me like 10 seconds. I mean, like there were 4 stitches per inch, and then it all just came apart. Like I just unstitched one more time, and it was all done. And then so I took apart the layers, and that's where I got that from. So you can see on this one, this is the bigger one, there's part of the embroidery from Allclad. So you might get a little bit of that. And that's why I suggest, like, if you see fabric you really like on an actual oven mitt, you might end up spending as much going to the fabric store as you would just buying the oven mitt and cutting it apart. Yeah, exactly, Heather. Yeah, you used old mitts. Exactly. Yeah, so I was just like, these aren't getting used. Why not just use them for this? Yeah, I know. Free, kind of. Okay, so now I'm going to finish my binding. When I was putting that on there, I was gently pulling my binding. I forgot to mention that. We've been sewing so much binding lately. You guys are going to be pros at my spiel, even if you're not sewing it yourself. Okay, so I just use my awl to pull the little fold just past the stitching that I just put the binding on with. And it should just all want to turn under and stay like that because we pulled it a little bit as we were putting it on. Sounds like all my Christmas gifts are here. I'm just teasing. Can you guys hear the beeping? I didn't order much this year, but I was starting, yesterday, starting to feel stressed about like keeping track of the things I ordered. Like I was forgetting. You know how when you're like, okay, because we definitely, you know, buy Christmas gifts and celebrate that way. And I got a lot done the other day, and then it was just like out of my mind. And then I got a package in the mail. I was like, oh my God, I gotta make sure all these packages show up. Thanks for following, Peach Queen. Welcome. Are you over on Twitch? Let me see. Sorry, I've been not saying hi to you Twitch folks. If you're there. I'm looking at the YouTube. Yeah, and you gotta make sure, you gotta make sure your packages come. Because I also ordered something from a site that I know that they're not used to like ordering. Like it's a government site. And I was like, well, what the heck? Like, when is this gonna ship? And I was looking at it and I was like, oh, it's coming from USGS. Wait, I didn't go to the USGS website. You know, I was like a little confused. It's awesome. All right, it's done. Very cute. This is like the most Christmassy thing I've ever made in my life, and I love it. It's really cute. I've always wanted an excuse to use this peppermint candy print. I know it doesn't quite go with it. They have a green as well, a green background. It's flannel. It'd be cute jammies, wouldn't it? Christmas jammies. So cute. All right, so here's my jolly oven mitt. Almost, you have the right box from Amazon. I only ordered one thing from Amazon because someone requested something specific from there. Like they like set it all up for me, you know. And I was like, okay. And I'm trying not to buy anything because like, yeah, that's too many. It's too many boxes. I'm like, if I wish you had a service where I could put it all in one. A lot of times I just buy it directly from the person, from their website instead of Amazon. I'm like, okay, thanks for the info. Terrible, huh? All right, so here we are. We're going to start one more time. And no silicone on this one. So this one I used this really cute cotton print that somebody requested an apron out of. I won't name names. Wait, I actually specifically cut this so that my thumb shows these two little guys. And then I think this is the... Didn't I pick this? What do you guys think? This or the exact same two birds? This is positioned way better, but I feel like I want two different birds. I used a peppered cotton, and this is the part that's going to go against my palm. And then just a canvas I have, a scrap piece of canvas, will be the mitt. And I did this because I feel like, you know, everything touching the pan gets a little dirty. That's right, Malin. Someone might. You know who I'm talking about. That person I would never say no to. I'm going to trim my little Either I did a bad job of cutting or what. I don't know what. All right, so same thing. I wonder, I see, I want to get these notches across from each other like that. That is my fold line. So I may need a little bit of a guide. So I put the fleece in there, you know, I don't get it kind of askew. Round things are always really hard to manage. Round pattern pieces. They can get askew without you even realizing it. Okay, so we have those two. We have these two. What's my binding? Oh, here's my binding. I have this amazing binding that changes in color. I feel like it'll liven up the canvas. But do I want to change my thread color? Yeah, exactly, Megan. That's what I was thinking too. And I feel like also just the seasoning on your pan, you know, like not the stains, but the seasoning of it, I feel like that just eventually kind of rubs off. Yeah, I think so, Sydney. Don't you think that that would be smart for me to do at the beginning? So what we can do is we'll sew this together now. This stuff doesn't want to slide, does it? Just line that up. That. Make sure you don't have like these little threads and things like this. Some of them are harmless, you know, these are pretty harmless, but sometimes they can get in between your layers and that you will feel it on the inside. And I am definitely a pro at that because it happened a lot with our stuff between the stiffener layer and the outer fabric layer. One little thread would ruin the whole product because you could see it or feel it. I am Megan. I don't know what to do on that cat quilt yet. All right, so we have one. And I think I am going to switch to a green. Let's see. But can I use a thread that'll match my binding so I don't have to switch again? No. Is this the same one? That's the same one. What's this? I'll find it one day. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a green. But I'm gonna have to switch back. I think this is it. I didn't change anything yet, Sydney. I'll let you know when I do that. I think I'm gonna sew them both, and then I'm gonna lay them on top of each other, kind of like what you're saying, like kind of gear up for it, and then that way. Come on, let go of me. Oh yeah. That always scares me. Always take your foot off the pedal. Remember that time I sewed without a bobbin? Yeah, that's happened once, because what was I thinking? Where's my little, here it is. Oh, I found my bobbin. I forgot I haven't brushed my hair yet today. All right, so let's put this together. So I haven't made it smaller yet. I'm just gonna sew these together first. And I'm going to top stitch them. I'm going to push this one this way. And now I can switch back. I love it when I'm getting down on a cone. It's like, it's a milestone. I think I have like 4 cones right now that are close. Okay, switch my thread. That long arm quilter that the long arm quilting machine that the quilter I'm going to uses, that thing is so amazing. Like I don't know much about those machines, except that they're amazing and they are quite the investment, you know, and it's worth every penny to have someone do that for you, you know. But how fun. I mean, like what she has to learn and figure out to, like, it's a whole different type of sewing. It's so fascinating. And when I went to that quilt show, they had this machine set up. I don't remember what it was called. It had a funny name. Yeah, they're costly and fun to use. And they had theirs, they had some sort of setting where they could actually have chenille yarn going through the needle. And it reminded me, like, you guys, you know, when you go to Disneyland and they write the name on the back of the hat and it goes really fast. It was kind of like that, but it was much thicker and fuzzier yarn, much thicker. It was literally like big chenille yarn you were writing with, and it was so easy. I mean, like, so easy to use and sensitive and so easy to control. I was like, oh my gosh. And my mom's like, write your name. And so I immediately did. And then later on I was like, oh my gosh, my name's just sitting there. What a egotist. But it was just like, you know how to do that. It's like a little kid, right? It's like the first thing they write. You know, you're like, I know how to do that. Oh man. You think, is it a hand killer? It was so easy. I was just like, so dangerous. I can see why people get them. All right, so let's see. Let's line this up. And I'm lining the seam line on top of the seam line. So I'm staggering my thicknesses there. And here, I'll pin it this time or clip it. Let's clip it. I'm trying to get used to using clips. I want to be one of those folks. Okay, so Sydney, yeah, look at that. When I do that, look how much different it is. What's going on here? Let's, does it really need to be that different? Let's see. That's there. That's there. So let's see. Is this already a little big? This is already a little big. So let's trim this off. I'm not making anything smaller. It's just probably my batting grew a little bit after being cut. I'm assuming that's what's happening with some of this batting because, you know, there's no structure to it, right? There's the batting structure. Yeah, I can't imagine Megan doing that thing. But like the quilter I've been going to, she's doing it mostly as like a paying hobby. And so she is quite generous by doing that. And hers, she programs it. So I don't know, it might have that capability. But I imagine they're all kind of different. I'm just kind of trimming this up so I can see the fabric edge. So when I go to do this, it's really obvious. Okay, so let's put this back on here. I was like, wait a minute. All right, so I'm gonna line that up, stack them up on top of each other. Stack it up on top of each other. So it's gonna go like this. So yeah, I could probably trim off almost 1/4 inch on this canvas layer, the layer that goes towards the pan, on either end. That's pretty big. I'm gonna try it. So I'm just gonna trim that off. It's such little fabric that I can always make another one if I'm like, you know. Even the batting grew a little bit, the one that's the closest to the thumb. So I just trimmed this. I trimmed this, this, and this. On this one, I only trimmed, I think, these two. And look at that. It's quite a bit. Oh, I lost my notches. Darn. All right, so now I'm going to tack them. So now you're going to get some buckling when you go back to do it. because remember now this is going to be a little bit longer. So you might have to ease it in. That's the price we pay for accuracy. Wow, Megan, that's crazy. Okay, I don't have my notch anymore. Probably good idea to transfer your notches if you need them before you do that trim job. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to ease this in through here because I just changed this distance on each compared to each other. But I feel like it's doable for sure. And it's probably easier to sew it on the shorter side. That's my experience. When you're trying to ease something, the layer on the bottom, if it's the bigger layer, it's a little easier to sew with the shorter layer on top. Mainly because I can do this, I can kind of curve it up. Wait, is that true? Ooh, it's gonna be a little tricky in some spots. Maybe I want to do it with that layer on top. Let me try that. Maybe I actually want to do it this way. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So there would be a way to engineer this pattern so that you weren't having to ease it. But the drawback to that is that you're going to end up with a pattern that has so many pattern pieces, because you'd have 4 for just the palm. You'd have 6 for the palm. You'd have them for the batting, 2 for the batting, 2 for the palm, and 2 for the outer palm. So that's why. That's really cool. So with a relaxed bottom. Oh, interesting. So is that maybe a rule? Because I feel like the bottom right now is the one I'm kind of holding taut. And the top is the one I'm trying to ease in. So Sydney, maybe not trimming off this much would make it a little easier. I kind of did it wholeheartedly, whole hog. I don't know how I want to say that, but you know what I mean? Like maybe you don't need to trim as much as that. It's not impossible to ease it in, but you know, you're easing. And so now, but when it's like on the mitt, and it is pretty, it's better. I mean, because you want this layer, you really want it to curve like this rather than how it was last time. It was curving the other way, right? It was curving like whoop, little Gidget flip thing. Yeah, right, Sydney, exactly. Yeah, I totally went for it, didn't I? I think it's gonna be great though. It just depends on what you're willing to deal with. This one could stand to get smaller, so that's also why I wasn't too shy about working on it. Oh wow, Megan. I forgot to do the elastic, so let's do that. So I'm gonna cut it 4 inches again. So let me feel. This feels good. Yeah, I'm gonna do the 4 inches again. Again, these are the small. The medium, I should tell you, you would probably want to do 4.5, and then the large 5. Forgot to tell you guys that. Sorry about that. I should have written that on the pattern pieces. Maybe I'll update that piece. So there is about a 1/2 inch difference and a 1 inch circumference difference on the each hand size this way. So it's about a 1/2 inch going across. All right, so this is going to be my top. So I'm going to sew my casing in a nice straight line. Oh, there it is. I don't know how I ended up with 2 of these. Oh, probably because I have right hands. Okay. Stitch it down. Poke it out a little bit. I kind of like pull it and then hold it here and see when I let go, if I relax it, the edge is right lined up with the edge, you know. Evenly distribute the gathers. This will be lighter weight because of the other one was the linen cotton toweling. Okay. Get in there. Line it right up. Okay, and then I just pull it, see where it's going to relax. All right. So cute. I like making these. I love making small things. All right, so I'm going to line up to my notch, which I think I have a little tuck right on top of my notch. There it is right there. And I go from the notch down again. If you want to sew on the perimeter here, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It'll just help you. Just make sure you get all the layers. And then I'm going to do this one from the notch to the center. Because this isn't the one we trimmed, this goes on really easily. You don't have to worry about it. This isn't the one we trimmed. We trimmed this one, remember? So didn't change that. That's great. Okay, so I have my double notches, which are right here. And then this one's going to go right here. I like to make sure that I'm not accidentally putting this notch to the like if there are two here, I want them to be the ones that are lined up. There they are right there. Oh, I didn't start from my center and go out, and I do think that helps. I was wondering why this felt a little harder this time. I'm doing it all one fell swoop. All right. And get it broken in. This one feels really good. Sydney, I think that was the key. It feels so good. Like it just stays on my hand. Yay. But we know where this one is going, don't we, Malin? I'm going on a quilt home tour on Sunday. I'm kind of excited about it. It's like that kind of thing would have used to stress me out, doing something like that. But I've learned, I've gone to enough things now that I feel like at the end of those kinds of days, I'm always like, oh, that was kind of fun, you know? And my mom's really fun, so. All right. We have this very festive binding. Yeah, it's nice and curved. I know, I love the green with that too. I love this color canvas. I didn't have much left. We did a Harry Potter wallaby bag in it with this, like, I think I showed you that wallaby the other day. That's what I made. And it has this print. It's Harry Potter because that print of the houses and things. There's a watercolor print someone did of all the, like, historic locations of Harry Potter. So, like, Hagrid's Hut and Hogwarts and Diagon Alley and stuff. It's so, you don't even notice it's a Harry Potter fabric. And it went with this. It turned out so nice. I didn't even get one. And so when I was making the wallaby sample, I was like, I'm making me one of those. Yeah, that print's so great. All right, so I'm going to kind of back it off. Oh, wait, we need our little loop. We need our loop. So let's pick, I'm going to pick this part right here for my loop. Why not, right? Let's iron it. That little apron is still on my dress form and it's so cute. It's so sassy. Oh, I was gonna try the clover, huh? Let's see. I don't know if I have the right clover. Do you think that's... This one looks promising. Like this? Any mouth. Right? Yeah. So I think what you do is, right, you do this. I wish I could see it. Also, I'm right-handed. Is this how you do this? Oh, maybe I could do this. Is this how you do it? Ooh, this is so fun. Is that how you do it? Red faces up. Oh shoot, I just did it backwards. So in this, where do you, what is it? I thought I knew how to do that. That was so nice though, Vicky. It worked so good. I would have liked to see it though, so I think you're right. I know you're right. Look at the print almost matches there. Oh, I kind of want to use that again. That was so fun. I had the green one, and I thought that that's the one that I needed for this width, the green clover tool, but apparently the red works perfect. Okay, so let's see. He's going to, like, yeah, I made a lot. Okay, nobody can complain about binding. Yeah, so you hold on to the handle and then do you pull the binding? Because when you pull the binding, you have to have your fingers close to the iron. That way what I just didn't, I'm gonna practice with that. That was so fun. I've always had I always make it myself. I always sew it on first, you know, but doing this was great. All right, no one can complain about that. That was so easy. Okay. So what do I want here? Maybe a little bit of brown and a little bit of blue, or just all blue, a dark green. I want to get it away from the bird face. I could, Megan, huh? But I was just thinking I would sew it on, turn it, and edge stitch it. So I don't find that tool to be necessary. But now, that was so fun. Now I want a reason to use that tool. That's how it works, isn't it? I got a email from one of my vendors yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to start my binding. I'm going to start below the elastic, so it's not too bulky. And it wasn't like a vendor for like all the cute like Prince quilting cottons that I used to get. I never got emails from those folks. My rep would just say, hey, I'm going to be in town. I have the new line and I'm stopping by, right? But one of my reps was kind of far away, and it was what I bought, like my canvas, like this canvas came from them. My stiffener came from them. And they did really interesting things that had nothing ever to do with me. Like they did a lot of plaids for uniforms. So all the yarn dyed plaids that are very school uniform-ish, they had all those. I used one once for a Harry Potter thing because I did something for McGonagall. And then they had waxed cotton canvas. They had things like that they just started carrying when I went out. And I got their email yesterday and I was thinking, please don't be something that makes me want to build an entire business around using this fabric. You know? And I was just thinking about that with this tool. Okay. So I just pulled that a little bit. You can see it's kind of ruffling. I keep trimming a little bit too much on the edge of this. It's getting smaller and smaller, a hair bit at a hair bit, you know, at a time. So try not to do that. I don't mind if this one gets a little smaller because of who it's for. This is for my mom, and she's a pretty petite gal. She has smaller hands than me, so that'll be okay, but just be warned. We've already trimmed a lot off of this one because of the ergonomic placement of the fabric, or the turn of cloth. Kid size when finished. My mom's kid sized almost, so that's perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to turn under this edge. I would start near that spot, but I don't start on that spot. I find it too fiddly, so I'll start usually behind it. There's the fold right there. I would start behind, that way I can kind of get used to it and kind of get things centered. This little stitch right here, I don't know what this is. I'm going to pull out. Oh, it's actually making the fabric tuck. Not sure what that is. Let's pull that out. There we go. It might have been to tack the elastic. All right, let's get that back in there. All right, so this actually didn't even grab it. There we go. So I find when I'm folding it, I kind of am pushing it, and this little cut edge is right up against my raw edge of the mitt. That way it kind of gets in there when I fold it. But like I said, this spot's always a little thicker and folds a little weirder, so that's why I don't start right on top of it this time. I'm going to backstitch that so it doesn't come out like it did just now. Now I can pull with my all that folded area and keep it in check. And now we're going to cover up all of our ugly tacks and stitches. Make sure that you put that fold of the binding just past all of the stitching you've been doing, making sure all these layers are nice and flat. And stitch right on top of your last stitching or to the right of it. Because when things like this are moving around and stressed, the little edge of this, you don't want to sew too far away from the fold edge of the binding, because then you might be able to see under the lip of it and see all your stitching. You know what I mean? So things like this, especially where I put the loop right here. Let's even check. So when you stitch near loops, see how far away I got on the fold right here? Now that can be an issue, because what happens is you pull the loop up and you might end up seeing all your stitching underneath here. And I can see a couple stitches right there. That one's not too bad, but I noticed it on like that one. See, on that navy blue, it's really noticeable, and it's just not something you think about until afterward. This one I got because I think I took out the stitches right there. No, this one I actually got. It was a different one. Oh, the one at home. I keep meaning to bring back, but I'm using it now. The one with the little woodland animals on it. That's my tip. So you can save yourself that frustration. You're like, oh man, this turned out really great. And then you go to hang it up and you see a line of stitches under there, you know? So I'm here to tell you, don't do that. I wish someone would have told me. I know that. I know better. So here I am at that loop. So I'm going to try to stitch definitely past the stitches, but not past the stitches so that it lands on the canvas side, because I may have just done that, not thinking about it. There's definitely a lot to think about right there. Yeah, see, I did fall off a tiny bit. Right there. The green stitching looks nice there. This is cute. It's kind of busy. It didn't look that busy until it was done, did it? But, you know, when you're wearing it, your thumb kind of pops the birds out. This feels so good. So it's pretty cute. When it's hanging up, you'll see that little guy. I like this print. It's nice. Cool. Well, there's our oven mitts. This was the same size. It's quite a bit smaller because I trimmed that. So weird. Little bits add up. Yeah, but this one is a little longer. Maybe this was a medium. Oop. Maybe this was a medium. I may have made this a medium. Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, that's true. This, oh, look at that. I really missed right there. I kind of want to take that out and fix it. And I probably will, but I won't do it today. Yeah, I probably will fix. That's too much. I haven't done that in a while. Womp womp. But that's just too much. I'll just take it out in front of the video. You know, it's for my mom. I'm gonna make, yeah, I think so, Megan. I have one cut out. I was gonna try and sew too yesterday, but I didn't get to it. So here's, I have one in this fabric, and look at this. This is kind of weird on the bias, but look at this print, you guys. Isn't it cute? My mom's gonna love this print. I'm 99% sure my mom doesn't watch the stream, so I'm not worried. I can't talk to you about all the things I'm doing for the folks that I do know kind of watch, but there's all kinds of little people, like she's reading a book and she's pouring tea. This person's painting, which is so my mom, you know. Look at, that looks like Mary Poppins. So, and that'll go on the back of this, and then I got this for the pockets. It's a feather for this side. Quit nitpicking. Thank you. I will. Okay, so I have a bunch though. This one I made for my husband, my sister, my mom, whoever. Okay, so now we have our dish carriers. Ever so useful if you go to potlucks and junk. And junk. Gear up here. What's the binding I have picked for this? So it's just these two pattern pieces. You need to cut this one on a fold right here. These are the straps, and this one as well on the fold and the fold, and then this is a fold line for the tops right there. Okay, this is the round dish carrier, great for pies and tarts. I love bluebirds too. I love this kind of color with the canvas. It's, see, it looks better. The color looks better there. Where's my bindings I picked though? Well, what were they? Oh, they were right here. Oh, here's one. I have this one. And then, what did I sew yesterday? Oh, the apron. Oh, really? That's awesome. What did I sew the day before? Oh, the boxy bag. That's right. Yeah. I know I had bindings picked out. So I have this one picked out, I'm pretty sure. Right, for this. I don't have enough, I don't think, to do both in this. I'm going to be sad to see this one go. I feel like this one's more contrast for the bird. All right. So for the round one, this one's really straightforward. Oh, they had one, a dish carrier. I am using cotton, Heather. I did one in oilcloth, and it was a bad idea. It's only for cold dishes. I kind of went down that oilcloth rabbit hole, you know. Yeah, Barbara, this is, and it's free on my website. Here, I keep meaning to post the links to the patterns for you guys. So let me do that for you. Why isn't this linked at the top of my page? It probably is, it's just too collapsed. And I changed the covers of these items so they look more like their patterns. And so let me do it here. Hi, Twitch. Oh, awesome, Peach Queen. I'm sorry I didn't see your message till now. I'm so bad. I lost my unified chat and I tried troubleshooting it for days and they helped me and they still couldn't figure it out. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you're on Twitch. Hi, H. Dot. How's it going? Thanks to all of you guys for renewing your Twitch Prime subscriptions. That was really awesome to see all those. That was pretty great. You guys are on it. Okay, so there's I put that link a few times this week in there. Good for ice cream pies. What the heck is an ice cream pie? I know ice cream cake. Yeah, so those will take you, all the patterns there, you can get free one way or another, except for the pie slice and the cupcake pincushion patterns. That's only $6, and we're making that tomorrow. So you can get this pattern for free on there. All right, so here is my dish carrier, and I already laid it all out. Look at this. This is like, I mean, look, it's ready to sew together. You just need the straps and you bind it. Like, this is so easy. So you have one whole layer as your bottom facing out. Get rid of these threads. These can be a nightmare later on. Yeah, Peach Queen, I love Twitch, but it's just not as big of a maker and crafting community as YouTube. So that's why I'm streaming on both. I just personally love Twitch because you can zoom in and clip things and things like that. You know, it's kind of fun. And the emojis are really fun as well. So, so I'm looking at the YouTube and I'm really sorry about that because there's a bunch of people there. So then I have, this is the lining. So you're going to see this when you lift up and put your pie in there. And then you have two circles here that you are going to fold and lay down on your circle here. So these circles that you fold back, you do need the notches that tell you where your straps are going to go. So let's see. Fold this so that they're lined up on top of each other. I was pretty strategic on how I did my birds so that I got birds flying towards each other. This is a great way to use a whole yard of fabric. Like if you have, like, I bought this fabric on vacation, it's really cool, I've never had a reason to use it, and you're just feeling like it's not good for much else and you want to use every last bit of it, this is a great project for that. All right, so we're going to do the straps first. You hear me? Oh, you guys, it's okay. The blue layer. Oh, and the canvas. Gosh, Barbara, thank you. Let me show you. So I'm sewing my straps right now. 1/4 inch seam allowance, which is looking a little more like 3/8. But yes, you're right. So I have one layer is the outer. You cut one layer. You don't have to. I like putting a canvas layer in between to give it more body. Remember, this doesn't need to be, you can make it insulative. You know, you could even make batting to keep your dish warmer, and you could even line half of your tops with batting as well. You could have a lot of fun with this. I always kept it pretty simple because it folded nicely like this in my linen drawer as well. I gave you instructions for the fabric part, and then I say use a fat quarter for the canvas or something like that. Or just use scrap fabric, even a couple layers of fabric you want to get rid of, anything you want to put in between just to give it a little body. I think it's kind of nice. I've used stiffener as well, just on the bottom layer, and that is fine. You just gotta remember that when you start adding all these layers, it's getting thicker and thicker for the binding. So you just gotta be cognizant of the fact that you're adding for that step, you know? All right, so your straps right sides together. Now, if you wanted to use like, use like a webbing for a strap, you can do that. Here's my disclaimer about webbing. Try and do it so you can burn the ends of it. It does make it a little bit more stable. Yeah, you could use interfacing. Absolutely, Heather. Anything you want to throw in between, I think it works great. I've done it all. The only thing I don't recommend is the oilcloth, because you can't put hot dishes in there. And I remember thinking that, but I was thinking, how often do I really do that? I do it a lot. Because, you know, half the time you are prepared and your dish is ready the day before, and other times you're doing it seconds before you leave the house, right? I did not wash these fabrics. None of these will bleed. No. I didn't wash these. You could. Yeah, you could totally, if you wanted to get rid of a little bit of shrinkage. I just saw someone that worked interfacing on the screen. So I'm just turning my strap, and I'm kind of, oh, there we go. I was pulling it the wrong way. I need to iron the strap. Maybe what I'll do is I'll sew the straps on the other one right now. No, I'll just keep that all together. All right, let's iron these. I'm going to take my tops over there too. So if you don't have enough fabric to make your dish carrier all one fabric like this one, I use this piece right here is actually a huge swatch from a fabric company. So I had enough for the bottom, and then I had enough for half of the tops. What is that? And so I just lined it. So if you need to do this, you can take your pattern piece and add 1/4 of an inch right here to this edge here, the one that says fold line. And still cut it on the fold here, but add this 1/4 inch, and then you're gonna need 4 tops. So 2 and 2. And then you can seam it together and then carry on. Yeah, Louise, it's been really fun. You know, like, it's nice when we don't have to fit anything, right? All right, so sometimes when I'm doing straps like this, I like to put the seam down the middle. Like this. But you can also put it on the edge. I don't mind putting it in the middle when it's a strap that's going to go on something like this rather than like a tie of an apron. And the reason I like to do that is because then when I will top stitch each edge right here, and then one side doesn't get longer than the other, you know? All right, so while I'm waiting for that to heat up, I'm gonna lay this on here. So the thing you need to think about with this, the only thing you really need to think about is that you do need the notches right here for the strap. And you need them to be in the same places across from each other on the dish. So you need your notches here, you need your notches there. So just make sure, you don't need to notch all these layers, you just need to notch these layers. And so like I folded it so that the notches are straight across from each other so that I know I'm getting it symmetrical. Ooh, nice, Louise. How inspiring. I really want to do that. I know Christy's been doing a lot of that. You could edge stitch this opening if you like as well. Probably do that because I love to top stitch. You can interface the straps. Mine is a lightweight canvas, so I'm not going to. You're not putting stuff that's really heavy, you know? But if you are doing a quilting cotton, you might want to interface the straps. It'll just feel nicer. So getting back to my webbing thing, if you're going to use webbing in place of sewing a strap to save some time, just make sure that when you insert it in the edge of the dish carrier right here, you secure it really, really well. And then what I mean by that is when you lay your strap on here like this, it's gonna get caught in the binding. I would also stitch it like an inch away over here as well. Okay, I'll tell you a little more about that. All right, so, and why I say that is because when webbing, even if you've put it in the seam there, and this goes for anything, if there's bag makers here, and you like to use the webbings, especially the non-natural fiber webbings, I find webbing to be extremely strong and extremely weak. It'll just start pulling out of the seam. I promise you, and I guarantee it. So if you're sewing bags, especially if you're selling bags, and you just put the webbing in a seam, no matter how many times you stitch across, even in this like 1/4 inch area or 1/2 inch area, it's gonna eventually pull out of the seam. And what I have found is you need to stabilize webbing on the product as well. So you're gonna lose a little bit of your interior by stitching down in here, but take the stress of the strap off of the seam. It's too many perforations. So when you're sewing over it and sewing over it, you might be helping it and you might be hurting it. So you might be able to do it correctly and get it, but most likely my experience is that it will shred and come apart. So that's why you often see webbing bar tacked, which is like a tight zigzag, like a buttonhole stitch. And you see it melted and you see it stitched down. You see lots of different things. So it's kind of one of those funny, it's like ripstop nylon. Seems like it's really strong, but then you're like, wow, this stuff rips. Why do they call it ripstop? So I'm gonna edge stitch the opening. You don't have to do that, but it'll be a nice touch. Yeah, what pattern did you use, Louise? And what did you learn? One of the bins behind me, it's the far right bottom one over there. Oh, you can't see it. Is filled with pieces of fabric to make my own knickers. I'm going to try it next year. It's going to be fun. And the bin on top of it is, remember how I was saving those wool pieces to make myself the little peds, like the shoes out in my shoes? That bin is filled with that. It would have been nice to have fussy cut this, huh? And maybe it is, see, I would have had to do, what do you guys think? I think the birds flying away from each other looks better now. What do you guys think? That looks better, doesn't it? So is the back cover that will sit in this? Yes, world peas. Acacia free patterns, just need to sign up to our mailing list to get. Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Christy sent me the greatest care package of things to inspire me, and it totally worked. I have like all these little patterns and a piece of fabric. I want to do it so bad. Okay, so this way or... See, this one cuts off the birds. What do you guys think? I like the other way. I mean, I could do this too. They're all flying one direction. Oh, the possibilities. Yeah, I don't, this is the problem one with the headless birds. Okay, I think I'm liking this. Away from each other, Vicky. Yeah, cool. That's what I'm going with too. And look, there's an edge on something that we're not even binding. So aren't you happy about that? I got to point out the edges we're not binding. All right, so just line up this opening, and now you're going to just stick your, well, I'm going to stitch my strap on the edges. Because it's fun. We'll do this one too. You like them flying away from each other, better away. Oh, Louise made such a good point now. Darn it. They don't always... Oh, wait, did I run out of thread? What? Oh, I did. You know, I heard this noise, but I was like, that wasn't my bobbin noise. It indeed was my bobbin noise. Why did I think that then, you know? These are swallows. I can tell by their wing shape. That's kind of why I picked the lining, because I called that one barn swallow. Okay. This is the one that stopped. This is another thing I learned about having a business. When your bobbin runs out, you need to always go back. Good night, Belen. Thanks for coming. Have a great holiday party. When your bobbin runs out, you need to always go back and see where it happened. I'm going to put my start step on the cream right here. Because my biggest error that we would make was when it would come out on a strap and the black was impossible to see. So you'd notice it when you go to the next one, but you would forget to go and look at where it might have run out, because by then you're changing your bobbin and whatever, and you just get distracted, right? And then occasionally I would have a person say, I don't think the strap's sewn down. That was my thing that I would do occasionally. I caught a lot, but that was the one I would sometimes not catch. Look at my birds on the strap. It was cute. Is it cute on this side? Nope. All right. You could probably put a chopstick inside here and like make your seam allowance open out. Or what you can do is press the seam allowance open before you turn it, and then turn it, and then press it again. Lots of ways to deal with that. Mine's just pressed to one side. All right, so where's my notches? Here's my notches. Just put it in the middle there. My nose is really itchy today. And here's the other one right here. And here's this one. I think it's a really good idea to double check your straps. It's the only thing that can go wrong on this. So, you know, why not check it? I thought this one looks a little, why does it look so smaller? So fold it in half and make sure that the straps are the same across from each other. You don't want your straps higgledy-piggledy. It'll make it hard to use the carrier. Why is this so different right here? Is that my stellar cutting skills striking again? Let's get my thread out of the edge there. My bobbin thread always sucks up into my sewing. Interesting. Making sure I'm not missing anything else. So I may trim that off. I'm just going to tack it down in a few places to make it more stable and see what I got going on here. Because, you know, if I trim too much, it'll be a not so circular circle, right? So you only need to bind this perimeter. I'm going to start, like I always do, on the bottom and go to the top, because the top is what we're going to see. And that's whoever you give this to is going to see as well. So let's just start anywhere we want. And we're going to start on the smallest layer. Quarter inch seam. Make sure your straps are nice and flat and not doing this on the other side. You tacked them, but they can still do that. They're still very easy to pivot, even if you've tacked them. You can kind of feel them sometimes when they get a little off. Maybe I should make one of these for all of the meals out, because like sometimes we bring our own containers for our like to-go food. I should bring one of these. I don't even know why never thought of that. Probably because going out for food is usually spontaneous. All right, let's trim this a little bit. Get all your layers in there, into your binding. Okay. Are any of you coming for the, are you guys gonna, anyone making cupcakes and pie slices tomorrow? I have some fun fabrics for tomorrow. And I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna cut them and then sew a couple of each. I think. I'm making a big old mess right now. All my scissors need to be sharpened. It's kind of embarrassing. All right. All right, so now you're gonna pull it to the right side. Just like this. Add your label if you have one. I guess I could add mine to this. I don't know what I'm doing with it yet. I'm gonna put it right here. Is that where I want it? No, that's not where I want it. Right there. Oh, that'll be fun though. I mean, I hope. You never know. It's that time of year. You know, I saw someone posting a boycott of YouTube for December 10th through the 13th. Do you guys know what that's about? I was wondering because I was like, oh, okay. That's good to know. I mean, as long as the streamers are boycotting too, right? Because otherwise that's going to hurt a lot of the smaller streamers. Alright, so definitely pretty loosey-goosey about this because it is the same color on top and bottom. So it's pretty easy to get it on the binding, and I'm not too worried about it showing. Plus, I don't know why, but binding circles are always easier, especially if you pulled the binding a little bit as you were sewing it on the first time, on the first pass. I do love sewing binding. Ooh, that got too far away from the edge. And I'm kind of hurrying up because I'm like, feel like I'm taking a long time right now. But now that's done. Like, this is a pretty easy thing, quick thing to sew. Put your dish in there and you're set. And it'll fit a pretty big dish. So you could make it a little smaller if you want to make something specific to your dishes. Like a pie dish is going to sit about right here, you know, because pie dishes are 9 inches. So yeah, it's about right there. I love making tarts as well, and they're a little bigger. So also you got to remember, like, say you're putting something kind of tall in there. If it's going to get gush, you want to be careful. So it's going to take up some of the diameter when you have something a little taller because it pulls it. See? Oh, it doesn't? Yeah, so I'm wondering what that is, Sydney. The person I saw write that is in another country, so maybe it's something going on there. I like respecting things like that, so I wanted to make sure. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm pretty sure I stream those days. I didn't check though. Let's see. 10th through the 13th. So that's Tuesday through Friday. I know, it's cute, Louise. That fabric is so cute. Sorry, I just like yanked it off the things. Here's the other side. Binding looks really good on this side. Almost looks better. I know, I feel like you'd want to use this, right? And it's funny because I had already picked out fabrics for sewing these with you guys. And when I was at the fabric store, I've been looking at this one and this one a lot, but I didn't have a reason to get it. And then I was like, oh, those are great dish carrier fabrics. And I really like making things that kind of entice you guys into doing it. So here we have the casserole dish carrier. So this one I made up myself. And I learned a lot that you can't have the opening meet right here in the middle like you can on the pie. It doesn't work. You can't get your dish in there. I know it sounds weird, but you just can't get your dish in there. This one here I made with denim, and I just hemmed over on the straps. It's really dark. Is that really dark for you guys? And then I used a floral on the bottom that kind of matches and a binding that kind of matches. And then I used this bird print, and then so you do need a elastic casing on this one. But then, you know, like the classic brown 9x13 brownie pan fits so perfect in there. All right, so you can stack up your fabrics again. So you have your bottom facing out. Again, I have a canvas layer right here. I have a canvas layer. I'm going to line it all up. Get rid of these chunks. Like that. And then so how are you guys feeling about the block next week? Because if you guys are like, I really want to do this, but I need more time, I want you guys to tell me that. Because I don't want to be all set up and waiting for your questions, but you were going to have them, and then you don't have that chance because you're not quite there yet. If you want me to put that off until after the holidays, just say the word. I'll put it out there, maybe take a little poll. You know? I know a few people have done it. But if you're just feeling like, oh, I can't really focus on this right now, I totally understand you. So I want to hear from you guys because I really want it to work out. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. I have my 2 straps and my 2 tops, which look like an oval. The edge that has this little shape right here, this is the elastic edge. The edge that has the notch is the edge that gets sewn to the disc carrier. Okay, so we're going to do that in a second. Let's sew our straps and get them out of the way. We know how to do this. This is also a linen cotton canvas. Kind of takes the guess out of if the fabric will be heavy enough. Like I say, you can use quilting cottons, it works great, but I like the suggestion of like interfacing at least your bottom layer, interfacing your straps maybe, and then making sure you know, either if the interfacing isn't enough, add the interlining layer. But you know, you're not really going for heat proof or you know, it doesn't need to stay open, right? Would it, Louise? Yeah. So let me, I was kind of figuring that. I feel like it's just such a crazy time of year. It's crazy for me just to get the information ready for next week. So I can understand just doing it because I got to do it on the camera. Well, I didn't get my bobbin started. All right. So I'm going to turn my strap. So who was it yesterday asking about this thing? Because this is when I do go through the edge right here. So look, I'm going to pull through the edge. Here's my little toggle right here. I can feel it. I'm going to close it on that and kind of get it going. I kind of slide the fabric over that really gently. I do this kind of second nature, so I didn't even talk about it on my last one. Little bit is better than a lot because when you do a lot, you can get way too much on the tip here and it'll get stuck. It gets completely stuck and you have to push it out and start all over again. So I put it in. I always put my pinky through the hole too so it doesn't go into the strap. I put it on the edge. You can also go like angle towards the seam here if you want some more stability. It'll tatter the edge a lot less. In this case, it's just over the edge, but I have definitely poked this thing through the fabric like that. Just depends on the fabric. Okay, Ramona. Nice to see you, Ramona. All right. I don't feel like anyone's going to be like, dang, I was all ready for next week, you know? But I definitely don't want to disappoint anybody who's going to say, wait, I'm going on a round the world trip in January, you know? Let me iron these right here. Oh my gosh. What's the next block? So, so Sydney, we did I think you heard me talking about, we did the like basic bodice a few weeks ago. And so next week, I gave everyone until next week so that they could try it themselves and then bring any fit issues to the stream. And we were going to try and sort them out if there were any. And then I was going to also draft the sleeve. And then once we have those two things going pretty good for ourselves, we'll be able to draft patterns using them. Ramona, that's awesome. It's amazing what motivates us to talk, isn't it? Exactly. I know. I'll be listening to a streamer and they'll like ask a question about something and I'm like, I actually know that answer. And then I'm like trying to fight to get over to my device to say something. Ah, when the iron's hot, it's just so much better, isn't it? Yeah, so yeah, Sydney, that was pretty recently that we did it, not too long ago. And there's a link on my website. It's in the like how to draft your own basic bodice. And there's a link there to a measurements page, and then you can kind of watch the video to figure out how I measured or do that. And then if you're a Patreon subscriber, I also included that with some directions, so you had like a follow along, fill in the blank type thing. Made it a little easier. And then I drafted it and then fit it on the dress form, but I used the skinny mini I have here, you know, the junior size that I was going to do myself. I haven't even done mine, you guys. So we want to do this after the holidays. I'm totally down for that. I feel like it's smart. I want to ensure success. Am I doing? Are you asking in general, World Peas? Because I do feel like I need a new quilt block now, right? So okay, I'm gonna edge stitch my strap. I love this fabric. Like, I love sewing on it too. Okay, so now we're going to put the elastic in our tops. Hi, Esther. You know, I'm not sure I have much time to do that. I mean, if it's something really straightforward and you can describe it really well, maybe. But I don't know if I can do that. Like, I don't know if it'd be so hard. Yeah, right, Barbara? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure, World Peace, if that's what you're asking about. It was just the block we all did a few weeks ago. If you are looking for someone who is dedicated to helping fit you, I know that Sew to Fit, she's another live streamer. She actually just went live on YouTube. She does, I know with her Patreon subscribers, she actually will do FaceTime fittings with them, which is pretty awesome. She's really good at it. And she's been sewing a long time. She's really good. Sew to Fit is her YouTube. Her name's Andrea. So if it's something pretty straightforward and you can describe it really well, maybe, and you have a little bit of experience with that so that when I'm explaining it back, you know. She's making a shirt today, Terry? Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm going to try and pop in her stream afterward. She's awesome. I like how she is with her chat too. Just a nice chat. Okay, so now we're going to add the elastic to this little opening edge here. If you have a serger, you can just serge. Yeah, no problem, Esther. Yeah, tell her I sent you. She's really awesome. She just reached out to me, so we're kind of getting to know each other, and we're so glad to know other live sewing streamers. There's a lot of people uploading video, but there's not a lot of us that sew live. So it's fun to meet each other. And there's another one I see, but she's never live when I'm awake. And another one as well that I haven't even found when she's live. So I know they're out there, you know. And some people aren't really interested in connecting like that. So I just kind of give them their space. They feel a little more competitive about it, and I don't want them to feel that way, you know. I just want to be cool, be chill. We're all different. Okay, so if you have a serger, you can just serge this edge. You see this how this has got more of a curve on this edge and it's flatter? This is your elastic edge, the flatter side, all right? So I'm going to show you how to do this without a serger. And how about, oh, okay, I'll iron it. Soda Fit. Who's that? So to fit. Here, I'm going to type it in. I was like, wait. When I said that out loud, I was like, oh, wait, I know what you're saying. Yeah. So to fit. That's awesome. I'm so glad you asked that, Sydney. I'm sorry I was talking so quickly, too. Well, especially because I know there's a lot of folks that may not even, like, they may speak a completely different language, so that would be really confusing to hear. So, probably like, what? I'm just going to turn this back about 3/4 of an inch. Hemming these curves is never really that easy, but we'll do it the proper way there. There's a little bit of a taper here. It might not line up perfectly. I'm just going to do the main one. The other thing, Esther, is do you have a sewing shop in your area that has classes? Because I feel like those are really great, because then you can like be there in front of the person and they can see what your specific needs are, and that's what they're there for, right? They can kind of troubleshoot it with you. Right, Sydney? That would be so funny. I literally was like, that sounds so familiar. And I was thinking, am I thinking Soda Stream? It's so funny. I think Andrea would like that. All right, so I'm just going to turn under this edge a little bit, like 1/4 inch. You just need to make sure your casing is big enough for your elastic. If you need to make your casing a little bigger because you only had 1/2 inch elastic around, that's fine, you guys. We're not making pants, you know, we're making a dish carrier. Your dishes can't complain if they don't fit. So if you have a serger or you want to zigzag this edge and then you would be done, right? If this edge already was zigzagged or serged, you could just top stitch it straight down. In fact, my serger is in cream thread, so I could do one that way if you want. This is definitely a little more labor intensive, but it is clean finish. To make sure you don't make it the width of your elastic, you need a little bit of space in there. Otherwise, it can kind of make your life hard. These curves are always tricky to hem on for anybody. So then we have this nice little hemmed edge. I mean, I'm glad you're here, Esther, and I'm glad you're sewing clothes. We are, like I said, we are doing the drafting your basic bodice pattern, so then you'll be able to start like, once you get some of your little fit things worked out on that thing, you can lay it on another pattern, and we'll learn how to do that over time and go, oh, if I line it up here, I can see my armhole needs to change a little bit because this is one of my fit areas, you know, like I know how wide I like and what my arms are, you know, what I need. And I think that is what I always look at in a pattern. So it's nice when you can just lay your block on the pattern, make the corrections first, and maybe get some of that out of the way before you even start cutting your prototype. Or maybe on some patterns you could skip the prototype because you've already sussed out some of the suspicious fit things you may have come across had you not had your block to kind of lay it on there to compare, you know. Yeah, right, Louise? You know, Louise, you're absolutely right. Yeah, so Esther, if you look a few weeks ago, If you go on my website and you see, so my website's sew.live, and I only reference that. I'm only selling one item there for $6. So it's not like I'm trying to get you guys on there to buy stuff. I don't sell anything on there. I don't make any money there. I mean, I have my like support me page, but that's it. So really, I send you there because YouTube is so weird to navigate, at least in my opinion. It's really hard to navigate, and I get lost on it all the time. Even on my own page, I get lost. I create playlists, and I have certain words to trigger videos to go into playlists, but all the time I'll see like the pajama bottoms in the tops, you know, playlist. And I'm like, what did I put in here? Why didn't it go in the right spot, you know? So I tell you to go to the website because it'll have like, say we did pajama bottoms. You can look at those and you can see my notes in a really concise list. It's not wordy. What size I made, what fabric I used, and what I would do different, any modifications I made. That's all I put on there. And more importantly, the links to each video are right there. And it takes you straight to YouTube. And then that way you're not going, where's part 2? So some of my old videos, like from a year ago, there may be a part missing because I was still having technical issues. So that's why I say, so if you go there and you look at the how-to or the pattern drafting area, you'll see how to draft your basic bodice and block, and then all the information's there. And then you can watch it. They were really fun streams. I love all the pattern drafting stuff we're getting into. Okay, let's do our elastic. I keep looking for my loop turner. Yeah, exactly, Louise. So I feel like, Louise, I think you're absolutely right, and I think I need to do that. Really because so I do it, and why not have a time where I sit there and do a sewing project? Because I want to meet more sewists in real life, and quilting is pretty much the availability around here for classes. So I'll probably just do it just to hang out with other sewists. I don't mind. I learn a lot from those people. So quilting's a whole nother world, you know? And I'm learning a lot of techniques. Okay, I'm looking for my elastic measurement, which is, please be this one. Dang it. Anyone have the, what's the measurement? I mean, I think I know what it is, but I'm not sure what I say on the pattern, but I'm just gonna say it's 13 and a half inches. Yeah, you're welcome, Esther. It's pretty much the width of your carrier minus a little bit because this fabric is going to prevent it from going all the way in, you know? So I'm going to say 13 or 13 and a half. Just about right here. A little bit more so I can clip it. And I'm going to cut them the same as each other. All right, got my loop turner. Let's stick it in there, or you can use a safety pin. This is when I definitely poke it through the fabric on the elastic. The elastic's pretty resilient. And once I get it going, it should be pretty easy. So when you have a little bit of resistance like I do this time, you want to make sure you don't pull it all the way through. 13, thank you, Vicki. So this time, actually, what I'm going to probably do, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pull it through. I just don't want to lose it all the way. So when you start worrying about that, you can do something like this. You can do a pin through it, or you can put a clip on it like that. That way we don't lose it. This is why I cut a little bit of extra as well. You see it's getting sucked in there. There we go. And then we have this side here. Let's make sure we don't lose it. I keep forgetting my elastic's not 1/4 inch. It's actually 3/8. There we go. All right. Evenly distribute your elastic. Make sure you didn't twist it either. That's kind of a bummer. Yeah, exactly, Sydney, right? I know, and it's so nice to share tips. And you also like learn about other people that may have things that speak to you. You know, like people are like, oh, I love this person's Instagram or whatever. Like I'm learning all kinds of things like that too. Okay, so same thing. Keep forgetting to check something. What? What does that say? Started streaming too. I don't know what that means. That's so weird. All right, so I'm sticking my elastic through this little hook thingy. Get it in there. I don't have to worry about it, this thing popping off the end as much when it's this snug on the tip, which is kind of nice. The worst is when your elastic comes off the loop turner or whatever you're pulling through, you know, your draw cord. I'm getting pretty good at using my clips, aren't I? So if I were doing this another way, it would probably be that I would serge the edge or I would zigzag it, and then I would tack the end of elastic to this end, and then I would tack the elastic to this end, and then I would fold over the edge and hold it and stretch it and sew like this. I feel like that's the easier way to distribute it. And you don't have to worry about this kind of thing, you know, like potentially losing your elastic in there. Now, mine's kind of snug in here too. Makes the gathers look really nice when it's snug, but, you know, like right here, it's a little too snug. Because I was thinking I had 1/4 inch elastic. That must have been fun, Sydney. You took a 4-day jeans workshop. That's really cool. You must have gotten a lot out of that. My elastic is folded right here. That's what's going on. It's not twisted. It's folded. I've never had that happen before. What the heck? Here we go. There we go. All right. So now we have 2 halves and we're ready to put it all together. I did the same fabric on the inside and on the outside this time. See how I want my print. Look at that. This print will line up perfectly right there. This one is different. That's okay. So I think you have a notch right here, and this is where the opening of your dish carrier goes, and it's just a guide. Make sure you have all your layers nice and straight. If you want to do the whole thing, go for it. Let's see, do we have another notch there? I thought we had another notch right here. I think it's right there. So this little curve is a little bit different than your curve of your dish carrier. That's okay. It's supposed to be that way, and it's because I flared this top here so that you have the extra girth. Oh, polymer. Oh, cool. But now you're ruined for jeans shopping. Yep. Totally know what you mean. I only wear jeans I made. I can't even imagine wearing anything else anymore. They just fit so much better. And you know how we all have those pants in our wardrobe where we're like, are those the ones that do this or do that? You know, like we're like, those the ones that go with that shirt? Is that the one that's a little too low? Is that the one that makes me, I don't know, like it's too tapered? I have that far less with the jeans I made, and I kind of want to come up with a system where it's like I color code my jeans and sew something in them, and then I just have like a little key, and it's almost like I know, like maybe what I do is I draw a picture, because I know them all by the pocket lining. All the pocket linings are different, and they're all the same pattern except for one, but they all fit a little different. Well, I have the Itch to Stitch Mountain View pull-ons, I think 3 pairs of gingers and a pair of ash jeans. The ash jeans right now are hands down my favorite to wear. They fit the best. I like how high they are. They're not that high, but I just like where they sit. And I love the ginger jeans, all of those as well. It's mostly what I wear. The ash jeans are black, so I don't wear them as often. They feel more, they feel a little fancier. All right, so I'm just kind of going from notch to notch with this little opening here, like this. So now we have, it's a little busy, huh? Right? The ash jeans come in 3 leg types. So you can do skinny, straight, and boot cut. Right? And I think I did the straight. I was going to wear them tomorrow, but now I'm going to wear them to a holiday party that I didn't know I was going to. So they are like, and I sewed those live on camera. I did lose one of those videos though. Something happened with it. But I did like a lot of videos on it. I really took it slow. And I think the prototype is still there. So there's that. Like the sewing is all there. It's just not the actual pair of jeans, because the first half of the actual pair of jeans, the video did something weird. But I made whatever leg type I made the length they came in, and they hit me like right at the ankle bone. So I wouldn't say they were cropped, but they're definitely, they're not gonna, they're cropped, they're not cropped. They're just like right at the ankle bone, and they're tapered. So they are definitely a certain look. Where are my notches? Where are my notches? You know what it is? Oh no, here they are. Wait, no. Oh, I see. So here's an error with the pattern. It would have been nice if I had put this notch. Wait, oh, I see what's going on. The strap notch is missing. Wow. What happened to the strap notch? Is the strap notch really missing? Huh. I think I thought that must be what it is, but it's not. It's the... Oh, I know why. It's not missing. It gets lined up with this right here. I already addressed this. Yeah, it goes right here. I'm like, what the heck? I know that. So you just line up your strap with your opening right here. Just like this. It would have been nice if this free pattern came with instructions. Okay, so put all 4 of your straps. And then put your label on, don't forget that. Put it right here. Would have been maybe under a strap would be a little classier. Should we do that? Let's do it under there since we haven't bound it yet. Okay. I'm kind of curious to hear how Rachel's pattern software is going. Remember she got that fancy pattern software? All right. Oh, it's totally fine. You're not distracting me at all. I love talking jeans. I could sew jeans all the time, but that would be kind of boring after a while, you know? I really love I like all the jeans we've made, actually. Everything's been really great so far. The Itch to Stitch Mountain View pull-ons are such a great entry-level jean. I think that they probably don't fit every size is their only limitation, but that's a pretty big limitation. Does come in a lot of sizes, but I'm not sure really how many sizes it comes in. I feel like it goes up to, I don't remember. It comes in a lot, but I just don't feel like it comes in enough. Okay. And I think like you could actually make that pattern even better by putting a side zip in. You like the button front Morgan jeans? I have that pattern too, Vicki, and I'd really like to try that. Yeah, that's another closet case. Okay, so I'm going to start my binding on the other side. Start it away from some of these thicknesses, maybe right in the middle here. Like this. And I'm going to slightly pull a little bit. And just line it up and make sure your straps are straight and flat under there. Otherwise, one will be like this compared to all the others. So easily happens. And this top part also can buckle a little bit, so you want to make sure you don't get any wrinkles or anything like that. I'm going to go up to the smallest edge I have because the canvas is sticking out a little bit here. I don't want to go up to that because then I would miss this outer piece here. Here's my other edge with the strap. And another one. Always pushing all these little threads into the seam allowance. Now it looks like on the other side this edge must be, yeah, see, I can tell it's shy. So I'm going to go by where that stitching is and go away from the edge a little bit. I can tell that it needs to shift over a little bit by where I stitched it. The kinds of fabrics that aren't going to change in shape are more tightly woven than these. So you might have to expect some of that. So yeah, Louise, I totally get that. You put it on those not hidden. I'm always trying to make it lower key, you know, just in case it goes to a family member and they're like, her face is there. You know, Louise, my mom feels really strongly about jeans not stretching. Yeah, she feels like it's too easy to secretly, or not secretly, sneakily gain a couple pounds without realizing it when they're stretchy. Like for the very reason we like stretched jeans, she is exactly why she doesn't get them. Like she remembers in the 80s when leggings came out. Remember everyone was wearing leggings with big oversized sweatshirts that went down to their thigh. And then I think like maybe winter came around or something. I don't know what happened. And she put on jeans. I was younger, so I don't really remember. I just remember she being really, really mad. She'd gained 5 pounds and she didn't know it. She never wore leggings again. And she was like, no way. But that's always been very important to my mom. Like she's always been very exercise oriented, even when I was a kid. All right, so I'm going, you don't want to go too crazy if you're trimming this edge because you don't want to get it lopsided, oblong. Oblong already, that word already sounds so lopsided anyway, doesn't it? It'd be nicer to do this with a rotary knife. I always trim with the bias side facing up because I can see where I'm at and it's more accurate. I think that's everything. Let me get this thing out of the way. I'm really loving the Sew House 7 free range slacks though. Man, pull-on pants, you guys. They're so comfortable. I love wearing those. And they look so nice that I thought I would wear them around the house, and I actually want to wear them out. I wear them to work now. Okay, here we go. Just folding just past that first stitch line. So that's where I stitched the binding on, right? You want to put the fold just barely past it so it covers it up, and then try and stitch on top of that stitch line, or at least to the right of it. That way you'll always land on the bias on the other side, and you don't have to worry about landing in the middle of your project by accident, right? Oh, bummer. What do you mean go home, Louise? Like when you visit family? That kind of home? Yeah, and I hear ya. That it is really hard to not find the super stretchy. But there are places that will have denim for sale that aren't stretchy, you know? Like I bought some from all the usual suspects. I don't think I have made jeans since I've been. I don't think I ever bought denim from Hearts. It's the only place I haven't bought denim from. But I know like Blackbird Fabrics, and I feel like I bought fabric from Closet Case Patterns once. And both times I got non-stretch. They were both dead stock. Oh, I know where I got some from. What's that Canadian? Her Instagram is Make Something. But what's her store? I can't think of what her store is called. And I used some of it for a jean jacket. Okay, here we go. I love this binding. No problem. I just had that one oven mitt today that I wasn't being very good about. Cute. A contrast bottom is kind of nice, you know, because that way you can see it. It's not so busy, but it is really cute. Oh, I put that one way over there. Yeah, the free range slacks are great. There is that extra this little side panel seam, so it's not like you're throwing together some pull-on pants really quick, you know. Stretch biker jeans, wow. Oh, I see what you're saying, Louise. Okay, yeah, yeah. So when you go home, that's smart. Yeah, I just remember I felt like I lost the lottery. Like after I had my daughter, like when in the time I was pregnant is when low-rise jeans came out. And so before I was pregnant, like boy cut jeans were coming out and I was really liking those. And then in that 9 or 10 months, all of a sudden all of the rises dropped drastically. And I went somewhere just to buy some temporary clothes, like an Old Navy or something, and I was like, what the heck? They went really low when they first came out. It was awful. You know, Vicky, I did originally. I did, and I don't have any of my dishes here. I got kind of nervous carrying my dishes back and forth. Sorry. But I'll try and do the photos at home today with some dishes in them. And they look kind of sad without, like, filled with cookies or something, you know? But I know I had, I thought I had my one last dish here, but I don't have any dishes right now. I mean, I have nothing. I have, like, a plate. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I had Vicky, like, in the pictures originally, like, let's see. Let me see. Do I have the... Oh, those are both flat. Okay. Let me think about. Let me see if I have a picture handy. Let's see. I need to move this over here. I remember where to look, you know? Let's see here. Is there pictures here? These are all the pattern pieces. What is this? Oh yeah, that's not really, let's see. Yeah, you can't even see them in there because they're totally inside. So I'm trying to find what you can see. But if you look back on the Instagram, I'll try and show one. I'll take these home and photograph them and show you. I'll put a pie plate in one, or a tart pan or something. And then yeah, there was one where when I showed them on camera for the first time, I had a 9x13 glass dish, and so it was like here. And then on the other one, I had a pie plate inside, like a standard pie plate. And then I've also put a tart pan in there. I've been using these for years, so I know what they work and what they don't work. It's just you need to have this space for getting your dish in and out. I tried so hard. I really didn't like the way this looked with the gathered on top when I first started making these like 12 years ago. But I just learned like that was the thing to do. You could do it without the elastic and then just have the like arch. You can try that. It just means it's just kind of looser. And it's not to protect your food, right? It's just so you have handles so you can carry your dish in and hold something else when you go in there, you know? It's great. And when it's in the car, it's nice to set your stuff in something like this, right? Yeah, I don't know. I find it a little easier, and it's cute. You can put like your utensils along the side. Yeah, so I think those cupcake holders fit in there. I can't remember, but those have handles. I don't go to any potlucks anymore, so I went to one recently. Well, we did a lot, right? Let's see. We have our where does everything go in here? I have to say, I'm really into this Santa oven mitt, you know? I'm kind of into it. We made lots of blue stuff today. Cool, you guys are set. This way you can give the person in your life, you know, that cooks all this stuff so that they can continue to cook for you, right? Hint, hint. Well, I hope some of these gifts are useful to you guys. And then tomorrow we'll be doing, you know, the cupcake. This is the Cupcake. A cupcake. And the pie slice. Pincushions. This one's canvas. This one I call Eat Crow. And then this is Cupcake. And then that'll be really fun. I have some fun fabrics for that actually. I have some really weird fabrics, honestly. I'm gonna make a pizza pie. And I'm gonna make math pie. And I have sweet potato pie. And then I got some sprinkle fabric for a cupcake. This is the humble pie fabric I made. I need another couple of cupcakes probably. And then I have a bunch of, here's my drawings. I have a bunch of wools over here. You see those? That's awesome, Vicky. I'm glad. Yeah. Now, all these are free patterns on the website. And then the boxy bag, we did that day before yesterday. That's a Patreon subscriber free pattern. And then the apron yesterday from Decades of Style, that turned out so cute. That is from Hearts Fabric. You can get 10% off if you sew 10. So that'll be good. Well, cool. Well, tomorrow's Saturday. I know some of you sound like you have some Christmas parties to go to, or holiday parties, I should say. And I do too, but I'm going to be streaming before that. And we'll be making the pie slice and cupcake pincushions. So I'll see you then. Have a great rest of your Friday, and thanks. I'm Sarah, by the way. Didn't forget to tell you that. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and don't forget to cut. You don't have to cut everything out yet, but don't forget to bring all your fabrics. I'm gonna cut first and then sew. I'll probably try and do 2 of each if I can. I'll definitely do 1 of each, if not 2 of each, but I'll cut out because I'm gonna cut out first. It'll take a little more time. So, hasta mañana, iguanas. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. You're welcome. Thank you.